Wanna see the world from the edge of my seat, through a big windshield or a plane, not a TV screen. Don't you need the road to tell you who you really are? Find out whether or not a man could ever change his stars. Oh, I ain't gonna step in line. Oh, baby, this is our time to reignite our American dream.
Links to our social channels and tune in to watch on either Facebook or YouTube. And we'll get started officially in about 3 minutes here. You're welcome to find a seat that is appropriate and comfortable for you. We have a lot of gym space. We're taking the approach with all of our events, indoor and outdoor, with doors open, that I won't blame you if you give me the Rona, and you don't blame me if you get it too. How about that? Personal responsibility and accountability is the name of the game today. We'll be back in just about 3 minutes officially to get started. Got some folks still trickling in. We're about 30 seconds from officially starting. We're probably live already on Facebook and YouTube. We are recording this, and it'll be available for you to share as a recording after the event. And if you're catching this right now on Facebook and YouTube, thanks for joining. We're going to get started officially in just about 30 seconds here. Okay, my watch says 3:30. It might be 3:31 where you live and in your seats here, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We've got room in the back for others to come in and as they get here. Thanks so much for coming out today. This is the Whatcom Business Community Forum presented by We Will Whatcom. You can find us at wewillwhatcom.com. Our goal today is to provide you with the tools and information that you need as business owners in Whatcom County. You, restaurants, gyms, and other small business owners who are restricted from operating at the capacity that you choose, have all been chosen as losers by this government and are affected greatly by what's going on. We will discuss what's happening to our business community during this lockdown that's been forced upon us with no end in sight and no real plan that we can see. We're going to come together, though, as a business community and hear from fellow business owners, some elected officials, and some panelists. Our hope is that everyone here today in attendance and who's watching online will get the opportunity to make some connections, get some resources that are going to help you move forward, and come up with a plan that's going to work best for you and for your business. A couple of ideas that I want to impress upon you. You know, this is the second of 3 planned meetings with business owners. We had a listening session last week with a half a dozen business owners, and we really learned a lot. We have this meeting here today, and then I'll be talking about later on a meeting next week for business owners. So as you take away connections you make today and resources, we hope you'll share those. Really the theme that we're focusing on is building unity among this community to really benefit all of us. We're operating under the principle that everyone is essential, and sadly that lockdowns can kill too, and we need an alternative. On 2 days ago, when our governor made an announcement about his latest reopening plan, must be his 5th or 6th now, a letter came out from the Washington Hospitality Association soon after, from the President Anthony Anton. And the highlighted section of this letter, which you can read on their site, says, "Today's announcement is not a roadmap to recovery. It is a roadmap to near complete collapse of Main Street restaurants and hospitality businesses. It is not a glowing endorsement for a reopening plan from an industry trade leader like the president of the Washington Hospitality Association." He goes on at the end of his letter to talk about how when the last shutdown happened, there was no vaccine. Now that we do have that, the governor must answer questions. What is the timeline for the vaccine? Who's next in line? He's got questions about when the governor expects herd immunity to kick in. What he's really asking is, Governor, give us a more realistic timeline of when you think all of the measurements that the government's taking is going to impact our community in such a way that we can set a realistic plan for opening up. But he doesn't leave a lot of hope at the end of this letter. He says, "This latest announcement leaves us at a loss for what to do next and makes it clear that we are running out of time, and that we will be talking with our members to get a sense of how they would like to proceed, but this plan is not acceptable to the thousands of small business owners whose livelihood hangs in the balance and the hundreds of thousands of employees who depend on us." I saw this letter, and having formerly worked in the Hospitality Association, I immediately dashed off an email to about 30 people that work at WHA, and I would encourage you to do that too. One of the things, many action items that you'll be able to take away from here today is you need to get very active in some very prescribed methods that are going to be talked about today. But one of them is your trade organizations, WHA being one of them. You should be in contact with them. And I won't read you the whole thing, but I said respectfully, Anton, it is very simple. You need to advise all your members and all businesses shut down against their will to make a plan that's best for their business. And if that plan is to open up, then open up altogether and do it now. And I've been into more detail with him, but in effect, what I wrote to them was there's no longer any reason to believe that our governor cares about our small businesses. No reason to obey his unconstitutional diktats, and if remaining closed is going to shutter our businesses permanently anyway, then there's no longer any reason to stay closed. Everyone needs to open, and they need to open all together. There's not enough L&I or LCB agents to deal with a mass reopening. The public sentiment is turning, and people have demonstrated that they will support businesses that reopen. And the optics of mass fines and criminal or civil penalties leveled against large, massive reopened businesses across the state is a PR nightmare for the governor and for his offices. I really really strongly advise the WHA, and I advise any other trade industry to say, you need to get into the field with your lawyers on offense and defense, start suing the governor and the agencies repressing businesses, and defend every business brave enough to open up. And that's just some of the advice that I'd start with to advise you on. I'm going to go through the agenda for today's meeting. My name is Andrew Gusterson. If you were formerly told that our moderator would be Jim McKinney, who's unfortunately unable to attend due to a family medical emergency. Today's agenda will start off with an introduction on facts by one of our fellow We Will committee members, Joe Murphy. And then we're going to have a handful of restaurants come up and share their stories, which is something that we've been doing quite a bit here at We Will. We've been grabbing those stories and capturing and trying to promote them. About 4 o'clock, we're going to go into a forum with some of the members that are seen listed on the agenda, including Mark Harmsworth, Donna Rex, Jason Hoff. And then at 5 o'clock, we'll be hearing from a couple of our elected officials. We'll be hearing from Doug Erickson, Ben Ellenboss. At some point during the conversation today, and Mayor Kyle Christensen from Sumas will also be speaking at the end. At some point today, potentially in the next 10 minutes or so, Sheriff Elfo is going to call in. He was expected to be here to speak in person. Unfortunately, unable to make it here, but I believe we have him scheduled to call in, and we'll just literally let him talk on the microphone so you can hear what his thoughts are for any businesses considering what their next steps are. At this time, though, I'd like to bring up my committee member, fellow committee member Joe Murphy, to give us a rundown of where we're at currently with this harvest.
Thank you, Andrew. I'll be less facts and hopefully just a little bit of my heart here. I want to just welcome everyone and thank you so much for being here. And I want to open this by telling you how essential you are to the health and well-being of our community. You are the fabric of a free and healthy society. Your entrepreneurial spirit, you're willing to take risks and to work hard and to provide a valuable service to our community is what made our country strong and made it free. The small business, the restaurant, the local bar, the gym, the bowling alley, the salon, all those are essential in so many ways, but one of the most important is community and social connection. People must have social interaction to survive and thrive, and people make social connections at work, at church, at school, at sports, and at your businesses. I know that you are very much aware of how your business fits into the lives of those in your community. You see the groups of friends gather together after work to talk and to laugh. You see the families gather around your food and your service. You see the regulars come in and cheer their sports teams. And you see the lonely person sitting at the bar socializing with the person next to him. You see your employees grow and work together, and you see the relationships that develop when all of that stuff is happening. You see community, friendship, lasting memories, and understanding each other all develop right there in your walls. Your businesses are essential because without them, most of that stuff simply does not happen. Because of that, I want you to know that opening up saves lives and lockdowns destroy lives. There are many detrimental effects of these lockdowns. Loss of livelihood, jobs, financial and relationship stress, increased drug and alcohol abuse, increased domestic abuse, despair, depression, and loneliness. According to a CDC study last year, 11% of people seriously considered suicide during the lockdowns, including 1 in 4 young adults. 8 large national surveys last year discovered a 12-fold increase in suicidal thoughts among young adults. One source estimated that worldwide the lockdowns have caused 580 million people to be pulled into extreme poverty and 130 million people to face starvation. There's a lot of terrible, horrible statistics on these lockdowns and these responses to this virus. Contrast all of that, and we could go on and on and on with all those. You contrast all of that with some simple figures on COVID. The total COVID-19 related deaths in Washington right now are about 3,500. And that's if you take their inflated number. That is 0.046% of the population. It's a really small number. The total deaths in the United States involving COVID-19 for the ages between 0 and 34 years of age are 2,450, or 0.00075%. That's 7.5 millionths of the population from 0 to age 34. Why are we locking down those people? The percent of all deaths involving COVID-19 in Washington for the age group 0 to 19, our school-age kids, is 0.0000. Any thinking person can see that if this was really about health, really about the well-being of our society, really about saving lives, then the most sane and logical thing to do would be to advise those that are at the highest risk on how to protect themselves, ensure they have the resources to do so, but to open up your businesses, open up schools, and to stop this crazy fear propaganda that is causing people to hate each other. Your stories and struggles are heartbreaking. And I'm so thankful that you're here today to see others that share your struggle. Hopefully get some encouragement and some information that might help you decide what the next step is. Finally, I do want to say that while unfortunately this is a fight, it is not a partisan fight. Everyone is affected, and every business is essential no matter what your politics are, no matter who you voted for, and no matter which side of the aisle your politics land on. We all need to pull together on this. Ultimately, this is a fight for our freedoms, our way of life, our well-being, our health, and your livelihoods, your futures, and your pursuit of happiness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. I believe we have Sheriff Elfo calling in at this moment. He was at our last meeting, and we're so grateful. Sheriff, you are very close to a microphone, and everyone in the auditorium can hear you, and you're on speakerphone. Grateful for you to calling in, and welcome you to share your thoughts at this time.
Well, thank you, and I apologize I cannot fulfill my previous acceptance of the meeting, but in interest of everybody's health and safety and an abundance of caution, I thought it prudent to not attend in person. By the way, I'm feeling fine, but I was exposed to COVID, so I have to just invoke some precautions until testing is taken care of. But I've stated in previous meetings, the governor's executive order does not constitute a mandate of any kind for law enforcement to take criminal enforcement action against businesses that violate the order. Aside from many other issues and constitutional concerns, it's simply not practical for law enforcement to arrest otherwise law-abiding people who violate the order, and the sheriff's office has not been asked to do so by any state or local officials. However, you'd be well advised that it appears that enforcement action by state agencies with regulatory enforcement authority, such as Labor and Industries, the Liquor Control Board, the Gambling Commission, that enforcement has occurred, has been threatened, and can result in significant consequences such as fines. To answer questions I've been asked several times, I've been asked to declare the order unconstitutional. And under our state and federal constitution, it's the courts, not the sheriff, that has the authority and jurisdiction to determine the constitutionality of the laws and executive orders. So I urge those who have been aggrieved to seek relief in the proper form. I wish you all the best for a quick, healthy, and successful reopening of your businesses. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
I think if there was one question, yes, go ahead and stand up and speak very loudly, and I will try to repeat it for the sheriff here. Go ahead.
My question is, if businesses are being ordered to ask people to put masks on, aren't they giving medical advice, and thereby can they be sued for giving medical advice when they're not medical practitioners?
Well, I'll try to rephrase that for the sheriff. Sheriff, the question was asked in the audience was germane to masks. If businesses are ordered by the state to tell people coming in to wear masks, isn't that considered them giving medical advice? And is there a conflict in the law? And is that enforceable with your office to enforce in some way?
We would not be the agency to enforce that, and I don't believe there's anything illegal about a restaurant or a business requiring someone to wear a mask.
But I think by proxy, the extension of that question, would you be coming in an enforcement capacity if someone wasn't wearing masks? Is that a good encapsulation?
We don't think the criminal law is the appropriate way to address these issues. We've exercised common sense. We've never had one instance yet where we've taken any kind of criminal enforcement action against for violations of the order. But that doesn't mean that other hosts of regulatory agencies may.
Sheriff, I want to thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you calling in, and we're confident that you'll be... Oh, Donna? Sheriff, I guess there's one more question, and I'm actually just going to walk over to Donna unless the mic squeaks here, and I'll let Donna ask it directly. I'm going to hold both these for you.
Hi, Sheriff. How are you?
Good, Donna. How are you?
I'm great. So my question is first, these public servants that are health inspectors and liquor board, do they take an oath of office when they were sworn in?
You know, I assume that they probably do, but I really don't know the answer. I know the Liquor Control Board does, and the Gambling Commission does, but I'm not sure about labor industries.
Okay, I can answer for you. That they actually did, and they do. And so if they are violating these businesses and harassing and terrorizing them and following through with unlawful mandates that Inslee is enforcing, why are they not being prosecuted? Why are they not being arrested? They're criminals. They're terrorizing.
You have to show me what criminal statute that they're violating by doing that. I mean, this hasn't been a clear decision by the court that the action is unconstitutional. I really feel that somebody, if you're aggrieved that they challenge the law, get a determination by a court as to whether their action is constitutional or not.
Okay, well, I guess we'll wait and see.
Again, thank you, Sheriff. Really appreciate you taking the time to call in today.
Thank you so much, and my apologies.
Moving right along in our agenda today, and picking up some steam here, I want to briefly explain who it is that put on this event here. There was a very loose group of community members that came together right before Thanksgiving when the initial lockdown was announced. There was no name involved, there was no website. It was just a group of concerned citizens, and I will credit Joe Murphy and Sheriff Elfo, who showed up at those first meetings, for really helping me decide to throw all in on this, because they gave a lot of credibility. You heard Joe speak here. He's very well read, very well spoken on this issue, as are many of the other members who have joined us over the last month. There's a couple of goals we had when we first launched. It was this: first, to spread hope. Let those who are impacted by the lockdown know that they're not alone, that we support them, we support their decisions, whether they decide and how they decide to celebrate the holidays with their family, or how they decide to keep their businesses open or operate their businesses. We were determined to spread that hope with as much truth and positivity as possible, being happy and joyful messengers of the information we had to convey, and peacefully protesting our grievances. We did this, of course, additionally, we wanted to give a voice to those impacted by the various aspects of the continuing government lockdown on schools and businesses. We put people who had lost their jobs up on stage to tell their story. We gave voices to students who were withering in online isolation, and we promoted the stories of parents, small business owners, and employees. We put them on stage at our events to tell their stories at the Turkey Rebellion, which was just a tongue-in-cheek way for us to kind of have some fun, was pushing back on the initial restriction before Thanksgiving, and again at the Santa Rebellion events that we hosted in the first part of December. We are continuing that valuable storytelling work on video, going to the businesses as we learn of them and as we hear from them who are about to lose everything, and we're capturing their stories and we're sharing them for everyone to see. Just, the utter destruction that this never-ending lockdown is having on our community and our small businesses. And out of those listening sessions and those conversations, we've met some really amazing businesses, and we're excited to meet more of you in this room today. I'm going to have some of those businesses come up at this time and just share their story of how what's been going on for the last 2020 and up until this point. So some of these I'm going to introduce by name, and some I'm not. At their request, Amber Lee of Leader Block, would you like to come up and share your story? Thank you so much for being brave. Everybody give Amberly a big hand right now.
Hi. Yeah, everybody knows this is a really hard time for all of us. The restaurant industry is hard. It is grueling. It takes passion. It takes time, love, commitment, care. It's not all the glamour that television makes it to be. It is hard. In good times. The fact that any restaurant is still open right now is astounding to me. I get chills, I get tears in my eye. When the first shutdown happened, 3.5 months we were closed, it was heartbreaking. We had 15 employees at the time, and we reopened back up with 5. And having to let them go, I mean, they understood, there was some help from the government, but it was heartbreaking, and then also very stressful on those who remained. At that time, it was about the employees for me, mostly. I was thinking about Beth, who is putting herself through medical college. And I thought about Robbie, who is a new father. And I thought about Josh, who is building a house with his father for his wife and baby boy. And I thought about Estes, who is an aspiring comedian. And my heart broke for them because I could only offer them blah amount of hours per week because that's all I can do with 80% drop year over year. Then I had the realization, I started running the numbers. I had the realization that we write checks to 60 different businesses, farmers, fishermen, all sorts of people. The person who made this sweater for me, who is a regular. So 60. And I thought, holy cow, how this affects everyone. I didn't realize myself how important the restaurant industry is and how important, I mean, what he was saying before about gathering and community, that's very huge for us. Service, but also look at all the people that we affect, all the people I write checks to. If I don't have the money to write the checks, it's going to ripple affect everything, and it's going to shake heavily on and on as time goes on. I don't have the future, but I predict if we stay as we are right now, we will close completely within a month and a half. So I stand here today with my fellows and I say, this, at some point, this has to stop for everyone. Thank you.
Amberly spoke last week to us, and I tell you what, I get choked up every time I hear some of these stories. I really just appreciate you sharing. There's a business owner here that does not want to be named, and I invite her to come up at this time and share her story.
All right, well, my message is more directed at our leadership. I would like to start with a message from the National Restaurant Association. They said this recent surge of COVID-19 cases have prompted the state and local officials to make difficult decisions about how to reduce transmission in the community. We continue to support aggressive steps, obviously to protect the nation's public health, but there is an unfounded impression that restaurants are a critical super spreader of COVID, and industries like ours are suffering as a result of inconsistent, restrictive mandates. Regulations and decisions regarding restaurant operations should be based on facts and contact tracing and not hypothetical simulations of transmission. When restrictive regulations are imposed, such as capacity or shutdowns, it should be clear what actual health metrics are being used to achieve to the previous level. And they also should be treated the same as other retail establishments. So I'd like to go more to a little personal about me. I'm a mother of 3 young kids, a nurse, and a small business owner in Bellingham. I was born and raised here, and my husband and I both love this decided to live with my parents for 3.5 years to save up to buy our first home here, but instead we took a leap of faith and started a bar in Whatcom County. And like she said, it is not easy to do that. Because we love Bellingham, our dream was to build a place that brought the community together and a place where everyone is welcome. Our bar was designed to reflect our love for Bellingham and to serve locally sourced products like drinks and food. It has also been an honor to give back to our local schools, BB staff, Lydia Place, nonprofits, GBRC Running Club, and many, many other organizations over the years. And now our dream has become a nightmare. The 2020 lockdowns have created tremendous hardship on our industry. Nearly 30% of bars and restaurants in the country are permanently closed so far. We were closed for 3 months, and then we were at half capacity, and now we're only allowed outside dining in the cold, rainy, windy Pacific Northwest. I would like to give you some insight into our specific situation, okay? Just some misconceptions that I have been having to debunk with a lot of my friends and family and community. To-go and gift certificates and outside dining are not sustainable for bars like us. Margins are very tight in our industry, and we only make a living when we're running as designed. We have had to lay off our staff, so my husband is working all of the shifts. This is exhausting, and we are burning out just like everyone in our industry. Our sales are down about 30% for the year and 40% plus since indoor dining was banned. Our business insurance did not cover any of the losses or expenses related to the lockdowns, yet we still pay our high premiums. The state forced us to pay $2,000 for our license renewal fee this month, which could have easily been waived to support small businesses, but they chose not to. The Whatcom County Health Department graciously deferred payments for several months, but the state could not. We applied to every state grant in 2020 and were denied due to lack of funds. We received a small grant for 2021, but that mainly covered the additional costs of constructing a semi-permanent outside structure. And who knows, the government may shut that down as well. Many PPP loans like ours only gave us a few weeks of financial assistance. I anticipate future PPP loans to fall short as well. Likewise, unemployment benefits covered less than half of my husband's normal monthly income. SBA loans are useless. Taking on more debt only worsens the situation. Because of the lack of assistance, the government has forced our family to burn ourselves out trying to protect our life savings. We are not all in this together. We did not volunteer to be singled out like this. Our governor did this to us with no clear plan and no science to back it up. We, like all restaurants, have always taken the public's health very seriously. We even invested in a $1,000 air sanitizer to protect our customers, in addition to following all of the guidelines. I would also like to point out some of the hypocrisy that we see. People can eat on an airplane, but not in a socially distanced restaurant at 50% capacity. Big box stores like Walmart, Costco, and Lowe's can have thousands of customers mingling inside their store every single day. Dozens of employees working shoulder to shoulder in Dairy Queen or McDonald's is not safer than our socially distanced tables with one bartender. Casinos are open and packed. You're not stopping people from going out, they're just flooding to the limited options now. We have a safe, controlled, socially distanced, and sanitized environment. Opening up small bars and restaurants would prevent overcrowding at a few places who are getting all of the business. It is crucial to understand that as December 17, 2020, the Whatcom County Health Department checklist for employers states, and I quote, "Close contact is someone who is within 6 feet of an infected person for a cumulative total of 15 minutes over a 24-hour period. Someone can be close contact whether or not face coverings were worn, period." People are mingling in nearly every other public business except ours. We keep people 6 feet apart, we sanitize our menus, our dishes, our tables, our hands, our high contact spots, and we even have an air sanitizer. We know how to follow health department guidelines and are confident in our ability to operate safely. Whatcom County and Washington love to say they support their locals and their small businesses. It is a huge reason why we live and we work here. But the lack of actions, the lack of science, and the lack of concern this year are speaking much louder than their words. How are you going to help us? And if you will not advocate for us and give us sufficient financial aid, then please let us open and operate safely. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, please. Amazing. Testimony given anonymously. You know why? For fear of the repercussions, the blowback. Down in Burlington, the Railroad Pub and Pizza 3 days ago was given the approval by the Liquor Control Board to stay open, but shut down by L&I. If you haven't been to the Railroad Pizza and Pub, it's got garage doors, giant garage doors on what looks like 3 sides. And they can all be open all together, and effectively he has what amounts to a pavilion, opened up, air going through. But he's got a great video on talking about showing this and how he shut down for L&I. This just goes to show you the capricious and science-free answers from INSEE's L&I. When they're asked the very simple question that's on the minds of every bar and restaurant owner out there. How much outside do I have to let inside in order for inside to be considered outside? We have 2 more restaurateurs coming up, and this next one here, Miguel from Paso del Norte. Miguel, I hope you know this, but we've made your restaurant today the after party location. Is that okay? Okay, so, and this is just a preview of one of the things that we're going to be talking about a little bit later. Things that we want to do. We as in the We Will Committee, we as in our growing community of supporters, things that we want to do to support you moving forward. So Miguel, you're going to be the first of our many stops that we as a community, as a group that we're going together and growing, are going to be making. And Nicole, you're next, and you're next, and Emberly, you're next. We're going to be coming to you, and we're going to be bringing people to support you. But Miguel, if you wouldn't mind, please come up here. You spoke so eloquently about your situation, both in the video that we shot. If you haven't gone, we will, Whatcom, go to our YouTube page, and you can hear Miguel's story shot by our dear friend Greg in the back there. And Miguel, would you just kind of share with us your thoughts here live as well?
Well, my name is Miguel, and I own Paso Norte and Blaine. I don't care if they shame or not. I own the place. I've been working there for 25 years. Me and my family. We work really hard, and this is killing us. Even my business, even it's coming to our family right now because we work so much. It's just like nonstop. All we talk about is work, more work, and then we get up and more work. It's like I understand it's my business, but we need help. He needs to help us out. One day he just woke up and was like, well, we're going to shut it down on Tuesday, we don't care. That was the delivery day for us. $5,000, delivery day just stays there. We got beer, we got things are going bad. We don't get help from our insurance companies. They don't care. They just didn't think about us at all. Then, my dad's, he was working there, and he's 84 years old. He used to work there 6 days a week. And now he got sick because he just don't want to work anymore. He feels like he doesn't belong to the restaurant anymore. He goes to work for a little bit, and he just gets very, how can I say that? He's very disappointed. My building is 5,400 square feet. They got to pay electricity, they got to pay this, and he's been to the point, he's been talking to me, even last week. He said, we should just close down. And I'm like, Domino, you're retired, I'm not, so that makes a big difference. So. But I got a kid in college, it doesn't stop either. My bills don't stop. I have to build up a patio. It looks little, but it was like $2,500 I didn't have. Host about 20 people outside, and I think my building is designed to get more people inside. You know, he needs to let us open. You know, the bottom line, we need to open because we need the business. Even the little business that we had before, we were making it, like barely making it, but we've been losing money since last March. You know, Blaine is a tourist town. We get really slow in the winter time, you know. We die by 6 o'clock, there's nobody there. But like, you know, all the business owners, they you know, they do understand, you know. And I talked to a few people, they text me and they're like, well, you only think about yourself. I was like, I'm not thinking about myself. I look at everybody else in the whole county, the whole state, you know, I was like, well, you know, I didn't go to school, and it was my choice, not everybody's choices, right? But like Tom's is not, it wasn't my choice to go to school, but I'm proud of what I do. I mean, if I don't work, my business is not open, I don't get any revenue. My business is my retirement. Like all the business owners would think about, you know. My kids doesn't want to work anymore, it's just the business. I don't like not the restaurant, so they go to school. And that's my plan, you know, to get a good education so they'll work like us. Because the restaurant business is a very hard business to be in. And we do need help. We do need help from the state. He needs to, if he's not going to help us out with anything, let us open. You know, that's all I have to say, you know.
No, don't wait, don't go anywhere. Miguel, you told us last week, how much do you spend, is it a week or a month, on propane to heat your restaurant?
A month that's $1,200.
What was the other big bills that you were telling us?
My electricity is between $2,800 to $3,500 a month.
2,800, and how many square footage is the inside of your restaurant?
5,400.
Huge, huge, and listen to the amount of money he's paying out every single month for propane and electric. And now tell us, you didn't mention this. Last week you told us, are you turning the heat on, or are you not turning the heat on while your employees are in there working?
They can wear jackets.
He's leaving the heat off to save any amount of money they can. Miguel, thank you so much for coming on. Miguel's dad is essential. Miguel's father is essential. Miguel's workers are essential. These workers over here at this restaurant, they're essential. Amber Lee's workers are essential. Every one of your workers are essential. Your employees are essential. Who's not getting that message? Who isn't understanding that? You all know that. That's why you're here. You get painted with this broad brush of business owners as if there's an endless pot of money sitting behind you feeding every single thing, and that is not the case. And every story I've heard so far is people sacrificing and doing everything they can to keep their employees employed one more day, fighting for them. And that's no different from this next story coming up. Please welcome the ladies from Tony's Tavern in Custer, Washington. Thank you so much for coming up here.
It's been an emotional week. Hello everyone, my name is Nicole. This is my mom Tanya and my daughter Taylor. We own Tony's Tavern. My grandparents, Tony and Mary B. Winsky, opened up in 1949. That is almost 72 years in business. We are on our 4th generation of family members that have worked there. Tony's philosophy was everyone should always have a place to go. Therefore, we are open 365 days a year. Our bar appeals to all ages in a very, very wide variety of people. It's a small community, and honestly, we are more like family there. I can't tell you how many people call that place their second home. We employ 11 kick-ass, amazing women, and as business owners feel so lucky to have such an outstanding team. We know we owe much of our success to our great employees. We have endured many hardships over the years. We've adapted, changed, and ridden the waves of the highs and lows. It will be a very sad day if we are forced to close, and I think our employees and loyal customers would agree. I want to be open and carry on the legacy that my grandparents started. Tony's has been forcibly shut down for 5 months during 2020. Not only does this affect our immediate employees, but also touches on the livelihoods of our vendors, our salesmen, our distributors, our maintenance companies, etc., etc. Just the list keeps going. Meanwhile, big box stores are making a killing and have only a fraction of the costs, relatively speaking. We worked hard to be open and to provide a safe environment for our customers' employees. While it was difficult, their health was a main priority to us. Not to mention the fear of hefty fines and the fear of getting shut down. We complied with all the rules and regulations. This industry's restrictions and responsibilities seem to carry much more weight than other types of businesses, big and small. And to be shut down anyways and blame for a rise in cases seems very odd when none of our restrictions were being lifted. In fact, they were becoming more stringent. I mean, what are the statistics? I think it's like 1% of cases have been traced back to a bar or restaurant. Even though we were shut down for almost half of 2020, various government agencies such as the Liquor Control Board, Health Department, Gambling Commission, still want all their licensing fees paid in full, as if we were still in full operation. Utility bills, taxes, and insurance premiums are also expected to be paid. For us, this works out to be about $8,500 a month, just to be legally open and keep the lights on. That is $42,500 during the shutdown last year, and it looks like we're going to be able to add January to those numbers. How does this make sense? It is so difficult not to feel defeated, frustrated, and hopeless. My mom and I have run that business with integrity. We play by the rules. We pay our taxes. We pay our bills. And to be given a few days' notice, twice, that we must close without a warning or plan or financial assistance, we're left to wrangle with unemployment and apply for government loans and grants that we may or may not receive. It is beyond my mental capacity to even understand this logic. But what I do want to say is looking out at all of you for the first time gives me hope. We're not in this alone. Thank you for listening to my story. There will be nothing left of small businesses if these unconstitutional closures continue to happen. Buy local, shop local, eat local will all be a thing of the past. Look at the big picture. All businesses are essential to someone. Let us open.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Nicole. I was in their bar this week filming a profile. You're going to hear more of that story probably in the next couple days as we release our next video, our next profile video, something that we've been just doing because we want to get more of your stories out there. We have a very hard stop here at 5:30 today. Big thank you to the host. This obviously is in a gym. I'm hesitant to tell you where or what if you're watching on live stream, but we're very grateful to the host here today. I have a late ad to a short speaker of 3 minutes. Have this person come up and just share their thoughts, and then we're going to move into our forum, and then we've got some closing remarks at the 5 o'clock hour as well. But Mary Gibb, I know we had a chance to add you to the schedule a little late, and I just would love it if you would just share like 3 minutes and your perspective and what your thoughts are.
Could you give me that nice sign?
I'll just kind of wait.
Okay, good. Hi, I'm Mary Gibb. Yeah, you're right, this doesn't make sense. It's a challenging time. We have, our company is Gary's Plumbing and Heating. We've been here in Bellingham working for 15 years. My husband Gary runs a team. We have an awesome team, and we're here to support those. If you guys have a restaurant and you're in need, don't let the plumbing hold you up. We're here for you. We're here to support our businesses in our town. So I found it very unfair, and there's lots of us, and a lot of people are scared. There's a lot of bullies,
and people aren't standing up. There's even large businesses in town that are not standing up. We need to stand up.
Yeah.
Who wants to stand up? Okay, let's do it. Everybody stand up. Come on. We're going to do this. Okay. So anyway, we love Bellingham. We love Whatcom County. We love Ferndale. We love Wayne. We love all of our town. But there's going to be nothing left if we don't stand up. So we better damn well do it. Okay? Sorry, just winged it.
Mary, your winging it is perfect. Let me tell you why we wanted to add Mary at the last minute. She represents businesses who are still in business, who are doing business, who were picked as winners by the governor, because he picked winners and losers. Some businesses were picked as winners and losers this round. Last in the spring, other businesses were picked as the losers, and now they're, of course, opened back up. Nobody is a loser. Every business is essential. Every business should be open. And it is going to come down to this. It is going to come down to strong businesses like Mary's business, like other businesses, standing up for those that are in need right now. Everyone has an economic fuel tank. How much gas you've got in the tank to take you how far down the road. Businesses that are doing great right now need to realize that if they don't stop and come over in defense of you guys who are being impacted right now, there will be nobody to defend them when they are picking losers next. So right now, that strong message goes out to not people in this room. It goes out to everybody who's watching right now. If you're a strong business, if you are a community leader that has otherwise been unimpacted, you need to right now stand up for these folks. I'm going to invite our panelists to come up, and as they come up, I'm going to make some brief introductions on them. At this time, I'm Mark Harmsworth from the Washington Policy Center. He's the Director of Small Businesses, Small Business Center there. Donna Rex from the Constitutional Law Group. Come on up, Donna. Jason Hoff, from the owner of Evergreen Lanes and Restaurant, a board member of the Washington State Bowling Proprietors Association and member of the Washington State Hospitality Association, the aforementioned Hospitality Association. The forum is... The idea here is to bring together some representatives of some different segments, from the legal segment, from policy and government segment, from an industry segment. You'll note that there is a placard down at this end of the table for an empty chair. And this reads, Erica Lautenbach, Health Department Director for Whatcom County. I invited, decided not to come. Should speak volumes for what our local government really thinks of all the affected businesses here. I'm going to be passing the microphone to do some introductions, and then we'll be asking some questions. But I thought I'd start off by having each of our panelists take 5 minutes and introduce themselves, their role, and their stance on how they see things laying out here so far in 2020 and into 2020. I'm going to start with Mark Harmsworth, and I've actually met you several years ago when you were a representative. You're welcome to come up here or sit there, whatever is your choice. Okay, thank you. So welcome, Mark Harmsworth.
Thanks for coming out today. And first of all, I just want to say, keep in the fight. You guys are awesome. You're standing up for what's right, and it's time to get this state open. I'm done with this. I know you guys are done with this. A little bit. I won't take 5 minutes. I mean, you just handed an ex-politician a microphone. That's probably suicide. But my name's Mark Harmsworth. I'm the Director for Small Business at the Washington Policy Center. We are an independent, nonprofit think tank, and we look at policy that comes out of the state of Washington specifically, and some federal stuff too, but mostly Washington. And I focus on small business issues. So over the last year, I started working with them back in January 2020, just before all this started. Prior to that, I was elected to the House of Representatives here in Washington for 4 years. I am recovering. There is a 5-step program, just to let you know. And I know many of your representatives here, including Senator Erickson, who's going to be visiting with us here shortly. Prior to that, I was in the Milwaukee City Council. I started my career in tech. I am a small business owner as well. I have a couple of businesses, one here in Washington that does a lot of IT support. And this year's been a very interesting year for my business as well. It's been up and down and completely unpredictable. It's not as tough as the situation you're in, because I know your profit margins on food, 3-4%. Does that sound about right? On food, you have to supplement it with alcohol and some other bits and pieces as well. So that's kind of where I'm from. So I'll be talking about policy this evening. Is that 5 minutes?
Less than 5. Thank you.
Great.
Appreciate it. Donna, would you mind coming up here too? I'd like to have you do a similar introduction of yourself. Donna Rex from the Constitutional Law Group. Now, Donna, you graced us with your presence at the Santa Rebellion that we hosted in Linden. And did you have fun? Okay. Well, we appreciated having you there so much, and we know you're being pulled in a lot of directions. You're in very high demand, and so we're grateful that you were able to come back up here for a second time. And if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, and then I'll have some questions for you later.
Hi, my name is Donna. Like you said, I'm in the Constitutional Law Group. I have been working with Rick Martin, who is a constitutional lawyer, since May. We have been working tirelessly, working with business owners and patriots across the country for the last 7 to 8 months. And I'm here to tell you, we're on the precipice of losing the greatest nation ever. This is economic warfare, and if you do not open up, it will be economic suicide. It's so close right now, and I want you all to know that we're here for you. We don't charge a fee. We go off of donations alone, and we've got all the information that you need to stay fully open. Inslee's mandates are completely unlawful. We've got this to back us up right here. So don't listen to him. Ignore him. I don't know if you've heard of Marbury versus Madison, the 1803 Supreme Court ruling. Anything repugnant to the Constitution is no law, has no force of law, and can be ignored. You need to ignore Governor Inslee. Open your businesses, unite, contact us, and we will help you. We're here for you, and we want to support you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Donna. I'm going to have our next panelist come up here, Jason Hoff. Jason, would you mind taking a couple minutes introducing yourself and your associations, and then I'm going to keep you up here, and I'm going to start asking some questions of you, have you answer them. We have some time for questions, so after I ask a couple of questions of Jason representing his industry, if you have a question you'd like to ask, you raise your hand. I'll do my best to get this only microphone to you to ask it, and then back up to Jason to answer it. And then we'll shift, and Don and Mark, I think I'm going to lump you guys all together just because of this one mic situation. So go ahead, Jason, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Jason Hoff. I own Evergreen Lanes and Restaurant in Everett. I'm a member of the Washington Bowling Proprietors Association. I'm on their state board. I'm also a member of the Washington Hospitality Association. I've been in hospitality in some way for about 20 years. I will say this, what stands out to me right now is that Mr. Inslee seems to be forgetting one of the primary parts of business, which is, as business owners, we provide the customer what they want and what they demand. So all of these interferences from the government are largely not necessary. Customers won't come into your businesses right now if you're not being safe. It would have been required without his dictation. All they needed was the information out to the public. Every time he interferes, he again picks winners and losers. It's not necessary. With me, myself, I was on the group of people that helped negotiate the opening terms for the bowling industry. We negotiated with them in good faith, and we agreed to the strictest guidelines of any business allowed to open, to my knowledge, nationally. What we did was effective. It was effective. We had no outbreaks traced to bowling centers. We had no cases that we know of traced to bowling centers. So you'd think, if someone is acting in good faith, that they would actually continue to allow such an activity, because there's zero evidence that we contribute to spread. But still, we were shut down. Does that make sense? Is that someone who's acting in good faith? So that's what stands out to me. Is what's being done to us right now is not logical. There is not data to back it. Washington Hospitality Association did a study showing that only 0.5% of cases were traced back to restaurants and bars. Someone said 1% earlier, that was high. State of New York's 1.4%. So for us, we'd like to see the data. The data that justifies this. What data are you using? And even in this new system, the data is convoluted. How are we supposed to know that you're giving us the right data for 3 counties together? He's the only source for it. He controls it. We've already shown that he's not acting in good faith. Because 0 cases, 0 outbreaks, shut down anyway. Right? And I'm not afraid of being a target, because I already have been. I'll give you a quick story. When the last lockdown started, I elected to partially stay open in defiance of the governor's order, and I sent my emails out to many elected officials telling them I was doing it and why I was doing it, giving them the same information I just gave you, okay? I got inspected by LNI, and I was told that Olympia directly said to come inspect me. I've already been targeted. I was fine. Still fighting that, but again, you can't be afraid of being targeted because it matters more what you're standing up for.
Amen. Stay with me here. Come stand at the podium with me, Jason. And I just want to run through a quick questions. I'm going to hand the mic back and forth to you. So, first of all, tell us about the Washington Bowling Association. How many facilities does that represent? And would you have a guess on how many customers come through the doors of your association members every year?
We have a little over 60 centers. It's down a couple now, unfortunately. There's about, I want to say 30,000 USBC, which is the governing body of bowling members throughout the state. That doesn't come anywhere near the number of people that actually walk through our doors. That's in the hundreds of thousands. Bowling is actually the #1 participation sport in America, believe it or not. A lot of people don't know that. More people go bowling every year than play golf, play tennis, play basketball.
Jason, have you been, over the last several months, able to, your association, you effectively lobby the governor in any meaningful way in advance of this November shutdown?
The short answer is no. Before last summer, when we were first trying to get open, we couldn't even get a contact in his office. It took months. I ended up having to go be very, very aggressive with a lot of local politicians to try to get somebody to give us an in. It took me a while. We didn't even get communications with the governor's office till July. When this happened, we now had an open dialogue. But again, where's the good faith? They would not even discuss anything with us. And again, we had already agreed to the strictest protocols in the country. And they wouldn't even discuss a pathway to reopening now or staying open then. It made zero sense. There is no science there.
Jason, it's so simple though. Obviously, your bowling alleys in your association could just take the activity outside.
Yeah, it was going to cost a lot to pull a hole in my roof to be outdoors. And retractable roofs are really expensive.
Okay, so we're just going again with the science. That a room larger than this basketball-sized arena that we're in right now, that is typical of most bowling alleys, has been completely shuttered for, again, most of 2020?
Yeah, so think about this. Some of our centers are 60,000 square feet, okay? They just allowed gyms to reopen, and one person for every 500 square feet. We were told, no, that's not allowed for us. Question for you, who's breathing heavier? Somebody at a gym or somebody at a bowling center, right? The justification he gave is someone might breathe heavy through their mask. We don't even have an exemption for medical issues for masks in bowling centers. Tell me the logic behind that. Makes no sense whatsoever. We just don't have the lobby, I guess. But that's not how decisions should be made, especially not when you go in front of people and preach science.
Right. Jason, would you say the marketing or the lobby budget for the Washington Bowling Association is larger than, say, the pharmaceutical companies down in Washington, in Olympia?
Highly unlikely.
Yeah, so you're probably, if you do have a lobbying entity down there, it's probably one of the smaller ones in there. But of course, they've been able to get in and see all of their elected legislative representatives over the last 10 months, haven't they?
No. Most of what they've got is my angry emails.
Yeah, because the legislature has been shut down for a large chunk. No special sessions were called. The governor has refused to do that, and it's unprecedented in recent memory that special sessions wouldn't be called this time. Jason, serious question now. How long, realistically, can the businesses in your association, yours included, 3 of them at least I can think of up here, how long can they go before reopening is just even not even feasible and they're done?
It's really going to be different for everyone. But the thing to remember about bowling is we're a highly seasonal business. Meaning people spend their 6 weeks of nice weather here outdoors. They don't go indoors. So we actually have to save for that. I lose tens of thousands of dollars at the end of the summer every year. Now I've had my busy season cut short 2 consecutive years. So has everyone else in my industry. That's when we save so we can survive. 2 years of not being able to save money. I'm astonished that any of our centers are still open. It's a testament to how much people care.
Jason, I hesitate to ask this on a live stream event, but have your businesses explored any creative options for private parties or even some kind of speakeasy style arrangement?
You know,
you don't have to answer that, by the way.
largely bowling centers have been compliant. I'm one of the more rebellious ones. Like I said, I stayed partially open a week into the last shutdown just to make a statement. But right now, the governor's new mandates suggest that we can have parties of up to 6 people total in the whole building. 60,000 square foot building, 6 people. That sounds maintainable, right? That's logical.
Jason, I want to thank you on behalf of your association and your business for making the drive here and sharing your thoughts. Does anybody have an industry question for Jason? If you'd like to raise your hand, I can probably take one. Sir, start making your way up to the front. Is there maybe one more? And if there is, start making your way to the front. I'm not sure how far the mic's going to reach. So we'll ask the question here and start to make the camera spin, and then I'll take the mic back to Jason. Yes, sir, introduce yourself and then ask your question to Jason here.
I'm Jim Stack on Mount Baker Lanes here in Ferndale. Thank you for having us. So we're not afraid to reopen, not afraid of the governor, not afraid of his decision. You did open, and L&I shut it down. How do we handle L&I and the health department?
That's good. And Jim, I think you're going to be answering that question for a second time in a minute with Donna, but I'm going to start with Jason here.
That was actually going to be my answer. I think Donna is probably more qualified to answer that than I am. I can tell you that when I elected to kind of defy the governor's order, it was very calculated. I anticipated them coming in, I anticipated closing, but I wanted to get the message out there first. Because honestly, the only real way we beat this is, as said earlier, we stand up to it. All of us just open. If all of us open, we'll overwhelm the system. He doesn't want to hear that, I'm sure, but he already doesn't like me, so I don't care. So yeah, we gotta reopen. That's the ultimate answer.
Jason, please give a big round of applause for coming up here and joining us today. Thank you so much. Do not miss the biggest takeaway I think Jason had. If all bowling alleys, all affected businesses open all at once, what can he do? There's not enough L&I, there's not enough liquor agents to go around, and the optics are terrible from a governance standpoint of the mass issuance of fine compliance. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do, and also he likes to have control, which is pretty clear, right? So at a certain point, he would probably give up just because he wants to appear like he's the one allowing this to happen.
That's a good point. So Jason, thanks so much. I'm going to have Mark come up next, and Mark is going to share the microphone a little bit, and would welcome you if there's something you want to start off by talking about, either addressing this or just talking about policy in general. I'll give you the mic for that. I've got a couple questions for you. Donna, do not forget that question, because that bowling alley is right there. It's right there. And he needs that answer from you, and if you've got feedback on that, go ahead.
I have some. I'm going to squirrel, if you don't mind, for a second here. I'm just taking my hat off as a policy person and letting you know, as a legislator, what was most effective in getting to me, because I was getting hundreds of emails per day. The most effective thing you can do is schedule a 15-minute meeting with your legislator. If you want to get through and have them hear what you're saying, schedule a meeting with their legislative assistant. You have to call in and make that happen. You can send them an email, and they might respond. I try to respond to all my emails. You can personally email me. But you're getting hundreds per day, so it's really hard. But if you schedule that 15 minutes, you'll get 15 minutes of their undivided, probably Zoom attention nowadays. But you'll then be able to express your opinion and let them know how you feel about things. So that was just a little practical thing there.
Yeah. And Mark, Washington Policy Center, if you wouldn't mind too, tell us a little bit about, as a think tank, 501c4, is that correct?
501. Yes.
And so there's certain things you can say and can't say as an official capacity with WPC. So to the degree that you can color outside the lines in your private capacity as well, and in your professional capacity, would you mind telling us some kind of the thought leadership that's coming out of the WPC these days with regards to the lockdown?
Yeah, so as Andrew mentioned, we're a non-profit independent organization, so I do have to be a little careful about what I say. I can't advocate for a position, I can give you information, which is a little odd as an ex-politician, because that's all they ever do is talk about things. But we as a organization right now, and if you go to our website, which is washingtonpolicy.org, you'll find that I've been on there putting up articles and studies over the last 12 months about the lockdown. There is a wealth of information, including a complete study done by Todd Myers on debunking the governor's non-science COVID dashboard, which we've shown is complete baloney. Those dials are not connected to any true science, and Todd Myers has all the evidence that you want to see there. So if you want to go check that out. But one of the things I just put out is a paper on the effectiveness of lockdowns, or in this case, the absolute lack of effectiveness. We studied 5 states, California through South Dakota, which are the 2 extremes right now. Washington's sort of on the California side, but it's definitely in the middle. And if you look at those states, the infection rates are declining in the states that opened up earlier than the states that have got the more stringent lockdown. Now that's per 1,000, that's not raw numbers, that's a percentage. But if you go look at that data, it just speaks to it. You just look at it. And this is coming right off of the Johns Hopkins website. So this is just data that we put up there, and we've shown you how it relates. So when we talk about these lockdowns, you guys know how to operate, right? You know how to operate safely. Instead of picking winners and losers, the state should be saying, here's how to operate safely, here's our guidelines, and then you guys get on with it and operate your businesses safely. And that's what we've been focused on, is coming up with policies that enable businesses to get their stuff done, to sell whatever it is you need, to provide the services that you provide in a safe way. And we've based it on science, unlike the state, which has not done that. Now, you'll hear them say, oh, this is all science-based, but I think they're protesting too much. So go look at the real data that we've got on our website, washingtonpolicy.org. We cite all of our references, so you'll see where the data comes from. It's reputable sources. We're not making it up, so you can see it, and then you can use that with your officials to say, here's what I'm seeing, what do you think about this?
Part of today is helping you get more educated, and thank you, Mark, for those resources. We'll be posting that as well. Mark, from the top, though, just in regards to small businesses, set the table for us. How much of our Washington economy is really driven by small businesses like these wonderful folks represented here and watching online?
Well, can I get a show of hands? Who thinks it's 60%? 70%? 80%? 90%? Not bad. 99.5% is the percentage of small business employees in their state. Represents about 50% of the employees in this state. So you guys are not the minority here. You guys represent a massive amount, the absolute majority of the businesses in the state. That's 1.4 million employees that are through small businesses. Now the big businesses generate a lot of revenue, and they have a lot of employees, obviously, and a lot of profit that goes with that. But the small businesses are the crux, literally the bedrock of this state. So when you start seeing the lockdowns that have been happening to you guys, it's affecting a lot of people, which is why you're all sitting here today, and I applaud you for that.
In terms of 99%, that's crazy. How many small businesses do you think, would you estimate, are currently impacted by the current lockdown, or were impacted by the first lockdown, and are going to have some kind of net damage when they took a look at 2020 and 2021 in the rearview mirror?
Well, it's a little difficult to put a solid number on it, but what I would say, based on the Employment and Security Department numbers right now, our usual unemployment rate about this time of year is around 4.5% to 5%, which equates to about roughly 50,000 people. We're at 280,000 people right now, so you're looking at 250 to around 300,000 people that are out of work that would not normally be out of work. And since small business represents such a large percentage of the businesses in our state, that's coming out of small businesses. The other thing, the peak, by the way, was around 585,000 people back in, I think it was late May, June. We saw the highest number of the unemployed folks. The other couple things I want to mention that are coming down the pipe, if you don't like bad news, you want to not listen to this part, your unemployment benefit rates are about to go up 500 to 700%. to pay for the fraud and the inability of the Employment Security Department to manage the unemployment fund properly last year. And today, one of the representatives dropped a 9% capital gains tax on your businesses with an LLC and S-Corp pass-through. So if you were planning on using your business on one of your business owners was a retirement, the state's coming after you for 9%. That will be effective in 2022. So you got to get engaged with this stuff and let your representatives know what you think about it.
Mark, surely Susie Levine in the employment department there, after losing hundreds of $1 million to Nigerians, surely she lost her job immediately and probably most of her department.
Susie Levine is still employed by the state of Washington. $650 million was lost to Nigerians. That's why you don't click on the link, by the way. It says, I'm a Nigerian prince, don't click on the link. They managed to get $300 million back of our tax dollars, but the rest of it's gone, and we're still not completely sure if they've actually understood the full picture of this. Plus, you know the backlogs. There are people that still have not been paid their unemployment benefits from back in March last year, and they're still trying to work this out. So we've, as a policy center, called for, and I've put a paper out on this, that calls for a reform, a significant amount of reforms, including privatizing part of the unemployment fund. It includes a full end-to-end audit of the Employment Security Department and a bunch of other things in the little details in there to try and improve this, to make it work for everybody, including the small business owners who they're looking to foot the bill for. So we've been asking and coming up with some policies around making sure that it doesn't fall on your backs. So hopefully that doesn't fall on deaf ears.
Mark, one more question for me, and then if you have a question for Mark, please make your way to either side here. I'm going to come to you immediately. I moved for 2 questions, and then we're moving on in our format here. Mark, well, anybody who is coming up wants to come up, I can take 2. PPP and some of the state funding have helped, but what is the real solution for all of the affected small businesses? Shoot us straight. Open.
That's it. That's it. It really is, because the moment you open, you don't have anyone who's unemployed anymore, and you're not having to draw from that fund, and you're putting money back into it. You're making money, people are making money, that's it. It's just reopen and do it safely.
Nicole, if your bar opened today, how fast do you think it would take you to get back on your feet? I love your answer. Shout it out. By Saturday, she said. I was at Tony's and she's like, oh, by Saturday, because her customers are so loyal, they'd be packed out the door in Custer, Washington. Does anybody have a question for Mark? Donna, the constitutional law group has been very generous with coming out to various different states, coming with as much information that's state related, so we'll definitely help connect you guys on specific questions like that. Give us your name and then quickly give us your question.
Yes, my name is Dennis, and I work with a lot of restaurants, so I want to take this information out to people who may not know about this, people like Miguel. So the only science I see kind of working here is kind of like the science behind Pavlov's dogs. You know, it's like we're all trained to do what the government tells us to do. Do this, okay, do this, do this. You know, and it's based on trust. But that trust is breaking down. And, you know, it's like, oh, just another week, another 2 weeks, another week. And everybody's got like 1 month left, 2 months left. It's like, I don't trust, and I want to get feedback from you guys. There's going to be new strains coming, and then the vaccine. It's like, I don't see really an end. Do you? Do you see some end, really, a light at the end of the tunnel? Or is it really the best answer is to stand up? Is one question. And the other is, okay, if my clients, restaurants, have a month or 2 months left going like this, and then they're going to shut down, it's like, well, why not take a stand, get these fines piled up that are going to be under the corporation, not personal, just don't pay them. You're going to shut down anyway. So what? Those fines will just go away if you're closed down, right? So you might as well. Does that make sense as a plan?
Thank you for stating it like that. And I think everybody's kind of trying to find their answers about that. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
I heard that the fines don't go away. That's what a restaurant at that last thing we were at, she said the fines don't go away. They don't. If you go bankrupt even, they don't go away. So does anybody know anything about that? Is that true?
Okay.
So that's scary.
Let's get Mark in on both of these last couple of questions, Mark, and thank you for weighing in on this.
As far as getting to the end of this, the governor has certain constitutional emergency powers that granted to him, unfortunately through initiative that we passed as citizens a few years back. The way to change that is the legislature needs to limit his emergency authority so that he can't do that without, and our preference as the policy center would have the legislature, the elected representatives of the people, convene to extend that power. He does need some emergency powers. We live in an earthquake zone, so he needs to be able to deal with those situations. But that is a limited amount of power. He has taken that and extended that throughout the year. The four corners, which are the four leadership of the Democrat and Republican side, House and Senate, have been extending that because in that are some of the benefits that are going out to the unemployed and so on. But that needs to change. So that's, I know today, two senators, bipartisan, Senator Braun and Senator Mullet, dropped a bill about opening up, so you should be looking at that and see if you like what they're saying. And also limiting the governor's emergency powers is a way to stop this going forwards, to answer your question.
Mark, thank you so much. Big round of applause right now for Donna that's coming out here. They are covering a large jurisdiction. Is it most of the United States or all the United States that the Constitutional Law Group gets around to? All. constitutionallawgroup.us, and they have obviously some a form filled there that you can go there if you want to inquire and get more. And they've got a ton of good resources. Guys, this is worth spending your weekend on right now and getting educated on what actually you have in terms of some legal constitutional resources to fight back. Now, that almost leads in perfectly, that question, Mark's answer, that almost leads in perfectly to the next segment. We have a couple of guests here coming up to speak. We'll have Senator Doug Erickson, County Council member Ben Ellenboss, and Mayor of Sumas, Kyle Christensen, coming up. And I'm looking for, if Doug is here. Yes, sir. Doug, come on up, make your way up. So part of this last half hour that we have here at the event.
Do you want us off?
Yeah, you guys can go ahead and have a seat. Thanks so much. But Donna, I know you have some resources. Would you like people very quickly after the event to come up and take things?
I do have some, and if I run out, have them take pictures.
Okay, so apologize in advance. Hard stop at 5:30. If you want something from Donna, you'll need to make your way up here directly after we wrap. Quickly grab that, and on the way out the door, there'll be something else for you to grab as well, in the spirit of giving you as much resources as possible. But Senator, come on up here, and I would like to give you 5 minutes to just talk about this. Maybe piggyback exactly on the question raised by the audience member, answered by Mark, in terms of the ability for the current legislature to address this crisis that we're in here. Thank you for coming, by the way.
No problem. Hey, I'm Doug Erickson. I'm the state senator here in Whatcom County, the 42nd Legislative District. I wish I was seeing you all under better circumstances than we're currently living in Washington State. First off, COVID-19 is real, and it is a virus. And if you are a person who is at risk, I urge you to take proper precautions in Washington State to make good decisions for you and for your family about how you should handle that, and the decisions you make should be up to you. The COVID-19 response in Washington State has been overblown, partisan, not evenly put into place, and we need to fix that as quickly as possible to save the lives of people in Washington State. I literally mean to save the lives of the people of Washington State by fixing the response that we currently have in place. Second thing I want to say is that violence and rioting in the pursuit of political justice is not right and should not be undertaken by anyone to take violence against any other person to accomplish your goals. What you do need is leadership in Olympia to get these things accomplished for you. Normally, the way it works is that you expect your elected officials to spread that umbrella of ability for you to go out and do what you need to do. Unfortunately, umbrella of cover, so you have the protection. You have the ability to know that when you go and open your restaurant, to know you're not going to see fines that are going to be on your record for the next 100 years as you try to pay them off. That you're not going to get hit by the Department of Labor and Industries. You're not going to get hit with all these things. The legislature should be providing that umbrella to you. Unfortunately, here tonight, I'm in the minority in Olympia. I cannot wave a magic wand and say, I will forgive those fines if you should incur them. The governor could do that tomorrow. The governor could, through emergency powers, say all of your fines are forgiven if you violated the COVID policies, and my liquor control board wrote you a fine. That's a power he currently has. He has the power to shut down Washington State. He has the power to put through all these proclamations. He also has the power to do that under our current laws in Washington. is for you to provide the umbrella of courage to your elected officials. And that is what needs to happen. We need you to rise up, contact them forcefully, politely, and not violently, but to give them understanding of the extreme dire straits that people are in Washington State. When I go down to Olympia on Monday, one of the things I'm going to be doing, we go through a 105-day session, starts in Olympia on Monday. They're locking the legislature out of the process. I'm not allowed to be on the Senate floor to make motions, to give speeches, to talk about legislation I would like to see addressed. The public is not being allowed into the legislative chambers or into committee hearings to participate in the process to make their voices heard, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. You could say we're going to shut down the legislature and not let people in if we were going to Olympia just to address COVID-19, just to say we're going to provide complete and blanket tax relief to everybody who has suffered because of the actions of the government. If we were there to say that we're going to forgive all fines that have been imposed, if we were going to go to do those things in Olympia, I would be fine with limited access. But that's not what they're planning. You've already heard about the capital gains income tax. You've heard about other legislation. They want to run a full meal deal of legislation that will have massive impacts on the people, for everything from defunding police, to tax increases, to gas tax increases, to limiting your ability to do many different things. That can't happen under the cloak of COVID darkness. So on Monday, I'll be introducing a bill. It's called Senate Joint Resolution of Senate SCR 8400. And this basically says that the legislature will adjourn immediately and then immediately reconvene with a 30-day emergency session just to deal with COVID relief. And that is what your legislators should be doing. So I encourage all of you to contact your legislators, encourage them to support that, and provide them with the umbrella of courage and cover for them to actually stand up and do what's right in Washington State. That is what is severely lacking right now in Olympia. What's amazing also is when they lock the people out of Olympia, they're doing it for COVID. Yet these same legislators and staff people will go to the Fred Meyer and shop. They'll let a clerk sit there and have thousands of people pass by them every single day, in that position. But they refuse to let the people come to Olympia and participate in the process. So we are in a difficult position right now. I'm working as hard as I can to get the restrictions lifted, to get people back to work, to get Washington State open. But I don't have the votes in Olympia right now, and that's the sad truth. I do think that this is not a Republican or Democrat situation. I think that I'm a Republican. The Republican leadership in the Senate failed you last summer because we could have brought this thing to a head by refusing to extend Governor Inslee's proclamations. And as Mark pointed out, some of those things were very good to make his emergency order operate, how we deal with unemployment insurance, how we do certain things. But what happened was many of the big corporations and many of the people who had well-funded lobbyists got their proclamations put into place to protect them, but the small business people in Washington State were left to struggle and to shut down. And that's wrong again. And we miss an opportunity, and we need better leadership out of Olympia. We need stronger leadership, and we have to get this open. One last thing, I'll close with this, is that Washington State is an outlier. We're the only state in the country who is shutting down their legislative process to the public. The only one. Oregon's not doing it, California's not doing it. We have the most extreme measures, and we're being very poorly run. If you saw the last study, in terms of COVID vaccines going to the public, we rank 44th, bottom of the list, in terms of efficiency of getting those vaccines out to the people that even want them. So we have to do better in Washington State. We have to open it up. I need each one of you to pick out legislators and give them the courage to do the right thing, to stand up for you when we go down to Olympia on Monday and say, no, we're not going to do all that other stuff. We are going to focus solely on fixing the anguish, the problems, the grief, the financial ruin that has been caused by the actions of this government over the past 10 months. That's what we need to do. Thank you so much. Look how quick I am. That's not even 5 minutes.
I have a question for you.
Oh, I thought there was a book coming in there already.
Not the book yet. Quick question for you, sir. Yeah.
In as succinctly as possible, give the folks here and listening online the specific action steps that they can take. And I know some of these might seem futile. Sending an email to Jay Inslee to let me open up might seem like a futile endeavor. But nonetheless, list them out for us so that we have it on record. These are the ways you should be communicating to your elected officials in Olympia. And if they don't listen to you the first time, then keep hammering them. Tell us what those action steps should be.
It's a difficult one. How do you participate in the democratic process when they're trying to block you out from being able to participate in the democratic process? And that's a tough one. Call offices. If you know legislators personally and individually, call them. I don't think this room is full of just, Republicans, not just Democrats, not just Green Party members. Find those people that you know in Whatcom and Skagit and Island counties and call them directly and say, we need to get relief on this. Do that. Go to your county council members. I know we have Ben here. Talk to him. Talk to your city council members. Tell the city council, the city that you live in, to write a letter, to call immediately. Have those elected officials at your local level contact the state legislators and say, we need this to happen. So don't just call me. Put together the coalition to build that umbrella that gives the protection to these legislators who for some reason are so afraid to stand up and do what's right. So call your legislators, but also work to put together coalitions, work if you belong to an organization, work through that organization to motivate them and push them to work harder to get that done in Olympia. So call legislators, call your local elected officials, work through your organizations, and try to have face-to-face, well, tough good people won't talk to you face-to-face, a lot of them, conversations with them, but at least call them personally and let them know how you feel and what's going on and what needs to happen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Round of applause. I'm so sorry. We are just pressed for time. We just cannot ask any more questions. Ben, thank you so much. While you're coming up, Ben, listen, what couldn't have been said better by Doug in terms of, since the beginning, this group was founded on peaceful protest. Everything we've done has been with a smile on our face every time we pulled up a truck somewhere and played some music and had motivating speakers come up and talk, including some of the ones you've heard today. And we're going to continue that on into 2021. And should Inslee persist with this lockdown, we will have the St. Patty's Day Rebellion. We will have the March Madness Rebellion. We'll have the Memorial Day Weekend Rebellion. We will not stop showing up for you guys and for everybody's listening. Councilmember Ben, Ellen Boss, thank you so much for coming. Give us your thoughts in the 5 minutes that we have here.
Sure. The March Madness Rebellion will come before the Patty's Day. So I wrote out a speech and everything, but a couple weeks ago I woke up and I was 42 and I can't read anymore, so my sight's failing me. And as of this morning, I can't smell or can't taste anything, so I don't know what's going on there, but I kid. No, I can taste everything. I can even smell the June in here. I was wondering what I was going to say to you all, but when I heard Doug speak, I want to say that I echo everything he said. Probably, and especially the very first things he said about the process and about peaceful protests. So we won't even spend any more time on that. But I think I represent the 5th District, which is North Bellingham to the border and pretty much I-5 to the water. And in my district are folks like Tony's Tavern and Paso del Norte and all these wonderful restaurants where I like to go. So one of the messages I wanted to get across today was eat more beef, support local farmers. One of the best ways you can do that is at these wonderful restaurants. Unfortunately, we can't do that right now. And I want to be just like the people that are up here screaming, open up, open up, open up. And I'm not trying to discount anything that other people up here have said. But the one lady lost her Costco card when she didn't want to comply with what she was being asked to comply with. And I don't blame her, I don't want to comply either. But Matt and Angel are going to lose their retirement if they don't comply. And Nick and Taylor and the McDonald family is going to lose generations of providing for their families if they don't comply. And I think what I tell people a lot of the time is that I'm probably an idealist, and I think that till I got elected, I thought that local government functioned the way they taught us in school. And let me tell you that it doesn't. It doesn't function the way they taught us in school. The bureaucrats run the show. They absolutely do. And they absolutely know what they can and can't get away with, and they push it to the limits. So I hear that they tell you that they don't have any choice in the matter, but they're lying to you. When constitutional lawyers tell you that this is contrary to the Constitution, they're right. The problem is that Doug's right too when he says that the governor has the laws that back what he's doing. And our local health department has the RCWs and Whatcom County codes to back what they're doing. And so we
have to go. I understand that the Constitution should trump all that, but the fact remains that we're dealing in a corrupt system. We're dealing with a corrupt court system. And the only way you're going to rectify it is till you get in front of the Supreme Court. I'm also smart enough to understand that in the meantime, you're going to blow through a few $1 million, your life's going to be ruined, and you're probably going to lose all hope. And so for me to stand up here while I haven't missed a day of employment at my nice job at an oil refinery or being an elected official and tell you guys to risk your livelihoods, I don't feel like that's the answer, okay? And maybe the people that asked me to come here and speak are going, oh, pull him off there now, he's contrary to what we're saying. But I fully respect the We Will movement, and I feel the same way. But I also see where you guys are coming from. And so asking you guys to open up, I don't believe is the solution that's going to get us there, because that's relying on us, everyone in the room who's not you, that's relying on you guys to sacrifice yourselves for our principles. And if we could get everybody to do it, then it would be one thing, but we can't. And so I think we need to come up with a better solution. And I don't know what that solution is other than to vote new people in office, but that's going to take time. You're going to need to vote people in office who respect the way that the system's supposed to run and who will make sure that bureaucrats follow the laws, and that we put laws in place that are good and right and follow the Constitution. But we've swayed from that. So I think what I would like to see as a Whatcom County Council member that I haven't seen in the entire 8 or 9 months that we've got, that we've had this, I would like to see folks show up at our Zoom council meetings. I understand you can't come, which is ridiculous too. But I would like to see you guys show up and in your 3 minutes in open session tell your story. Because I have people come up to me and they say, Ben, you're not doing anything to help us. And I'm like, really? Well, I thought when I wrote this resolution or I wrote this letter to the governor or I did this that I was trying to help. But the thing is, people don't even know that because they don't go to the meetings, they don't pay attention to the meetings. And unfortunately, when you're in the minority, in your legislative body, you don't get a fair coverage either, right? And so what I would love to see is everybody here who has a story, show up and tell your story. That way when I try and run a resolution that wants to respect everyone's ability to feed their family and respects everyone's right to be protected and safe and healthy, because COVID's not the only thing out there that's killing people right now, right? And unfortunately the narrative is that that is the case. But that is not the case, and nobody's hearing that it's not the case. So please show up at our council meetings, call in Zoom in your 3 minutes in open session, tell your story about how Tony's Tavern isn't going to make it much longer. El Paso del Norte is probably going to have to shut down. That it's costing Miguel how many tens of thousands of dollars to just keep the lights on. And encourage your friends to do the same thing. Because all I'm hearing as a legislative authority in Whatcom County is that we need to shut this thing down, and we need to keep it shut down because people are dying out there. That is a truthful statement, but it's not the entire truth. And I think that it's time that people heard the entire truth. Thanks for coming. Stay safe, be healthy.
I want you guys to take something away from Ben and Doug. When we put this event together, we sought to bring all the viewpoints to the table. We sought to bring what Joe talked about at the beginning, how it is a virus, it is dangerous, but it is not having the impact that they say it's having, nor should it require this level of severity in the lockdown. We wanted you to hear the stories of all of the business owners that we talked to last week, and we hope to hear your stories next. Last week was phase 1 of talking to business owners. Your phase 2. Next week on the 13th will be phase 3. And we're going to have one more speaker here real quick. We are shutting this down at 5:30. Kyle Christensen, would you mind making your way up here? Mayor of Sumas. We're going to send you out here with some action items, but I want you to know as best as we can, representing all the viewpoints. And for those of you walking out of here, it is still going to be, at the end of the day, your choice what you want to do. You're going to take home the resources from constitutionallawgroup.us. You're going to take home a document at the door there, a declaration, and you're going to have go to We Will Whatcom for more resources after that. But I wanted you to hear from, the various different elected officials we could get here. And Kyle, we're grateful to have you. We are running a little short. If you wouldn't mind 4 minutes.
All right, yeah, thank you very much. It's a privilege to speak here today. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I totally agree with what Senator Erickson said as well. Every point that he brought up, I agree with. And I love what Ben said. Being a local leader in Whatcom County and a mayor of a small city, there aren't a lot of us that are willing to put our reputation on the line to ask these tough questions. Why aren't we holding everybody to the same standard? So if you, I'm sure you guys have seen some pictures, or you might even know somebody that's flown on an airplane recently, and you stand in line 6 feet apart, and then once you get on the airplane, you're inches away from the person right next to you. And so I take that same example and talk about businesses. If any of you have gone into Costco, Fred Meyer, Walmart, any of these big box stores, there's hundreds of people in there. And then yet we have gyms and restaurants that are only allowed to be open with certain conditions or outside venues, whatever it might be. So I'm asking the question, and I think that's where we get off track. We get so worked up, and everybody's right that's talking about here. It is unconstitutional, but we have to look at this a different way and look at the facts of the matter. I would like the governor's office to explain why it's okay for people to be inches away from you on an airplane and yet not open up all businesses because they're all essential and hold everybody to the same standard. And I think that's where we get off point here is if we can ask those questions and stick to the facts and do it in a way that comes across as kind and gracious, that's what I'm going to do as an elected official, is ask those tough questions, look at the facts, and then I would just reiterate one other thing. Every small business, restaurant owner, gym owner that's struggling right now, use whatever means you have to get the word out there about that. It's great to come here and listen to each other and share the struggles you're going through, but it becomes real when every one of you goes to social media, lets people know around you, let your community know, and then also let, like Ben said, contact the Whatcom County Council. Take 3 minutes and tell your story. Share it on Facebook. I'm not a big fan of social media, but I use it because it's a great tool to get your story out there and get people aware of the struggles you guys are going through. And then your local city officials. So let's not forget everybody along the line. If you send your concerns to the right people, and if everybody is doing their job, they'll continue to send that up the chain. And that's how we get through this, by working together and everybody doing their part to help along the way. It's real easy to sit back and say, I'm going to wait for somebody else to solve the problem. We have to work together. And like I said, I choose to do it in a kind and gracious way when I engage people on social media. Obviously, that doesn't always work, but I think that that's how we make this change. That's just my opinion. Thank you. It's been a privilege to talk here today.
Thank you, Kyle. This is just the start of the conversation. Like I said, you're the second group we've got, and you are 10 times bigger than the group we had last week. Next week on the 13th, Ashley, are we saying where? Yes. Next week on the 13th at noon at Park Bowl, we are going to be having the third of these events. That information will be available on the WeWillWhatcom.com page. To continue the conversation with us, go to the back of your program. There is information about Telegram Business Community Chat. Now, this is another app, and it's another social network, but I think we all know what's happening with the main social networks, and you need to have some backups. There's communications happening here that's just specific for business owners. I'd encourage you to take that look. We're talking about, Kyle's talking about roping yourselves together, about getting connected. We wrote something. And I think it's a very good first draft, and I'd like you to take a look at it. It's on this legal piece of paper. As you walk out the door, you can gather it. It's a declaration that Whatcom County is open for business, for school, and for worship. There's a preamble in here that you should read that will help educate you on what the foundation is that we're basing this on. But at the bottom of this, it says this, as of the 11th, henceforth, we, the undersigned, declare that your Inslee, your never-ending lockdown is no longer tolerable. Your continuous proclamations have not been necessary for quite some time and are no longer acceptable, and we will decide the right course of action for ourselves, for our families, for our businesses, and for our communities. Thus, we declare the associated businesses, schools, churches under the purview open for business as we deem fit, so that we may meet the needs of our customers, employees, families, and those who depend on our business to be functional and financially solvent. Committed on this day, business owners and community leaders of the greater Whatcom County. This has a QR code on it as well. You're asking what's with all the QR codes. Well, we're putting links behind these that we don't want everybody else to see. So go to the QR code, scan that on your phone, it'll take you to a landing page under We Will Whatcom that you cannot find if you don't go there via the link, via the QR code. This document is there, and there is a form for you to sign. Don't take this lightly. Take this seriously, because the language in here has enough room for you to figure out what's right for you. It's no hard and fast, this is what you have to do. But it is firm enough for us to start taking a very specific step in a course of action. And we're going to be discussing this more on the 13th. So you will see this again on the 13th. And what we'll be discussing again on the 13th is some specific dates. When everybody who gets on board and signs this, when you get on board and sign this, we'll be talking about some specific dates that we will be all picking a day to do something together, to open up together. Also, if you sign up for this, if you go here and you put your information down, you will be added to the list of businesses that we will be organizing flash mobs to. So we're starting tonight at the after party at Paso del Norte, Miguel's. If you are able, please make your way up there after this event wraps. And then, Nick's next on the list, and then Leader Block, and then your business. We're the ones that got here first. We're starting with them. You sign this form, this declaration that we will decide our own fate, and we will add you to that list, and we'll put together a big calendar of how we're going to enjoy socially the next couple months, because I see so many businesses in here, I think I'm going to be eating out for the next 2 months solid. Now, are you with me that we need to take steps? Do you feel a little bit more educated than when you walked in the door? How many people in this room are essential? Raise your hands. If you're essential right now, how many people have people working for you that are essential? Everyone. Everyone is essential. I love Nick's line, everyone's essential to somebody. So here's the deal. We're about wrapped. When you walk out the door here, grab one of these legal form declarations, read it, think about it, go to wewillwhatcom.com, follow us on the social medias. Ashley, come on up here, one more announcement. Yeah, we're being very strategic with the plans that we're going to be rolling out so that you guys can all stand up together and make your voices heard together. So the plug-in for you is wewillwhatcom.com. Follow us on the social media network channels there. Pick this up, get connected. This will add you to a specific list when you sign this document that will get the next information. And I wish we had more time, because the best part of an event that I have found working in hospitality for 10 years in a previous life, the best part about an event like this is usually the happy hour that comes afterwards. And I yearn for the day when we can all get together and have happy hour. But we're going to make that happen right now up at Miguel. So if you would like to build connection, find hope, and find fellow business owners who are impacted like this, I encourage you to make your way up at Paso del Norte. We are at time. There is some, if you need a ride back to the parking ride, we've got a couple cars that can shuttle you over there. Thank you so much for coming out, everybody. And if you wouldn't mind, grab your chair and take it to the back with you so we can pack this place up and get it as cleaned out as possible. Again, Donna Rex has documentation up here at the front. You are welcome to come up and grab some of her copies as well. Thank you so much for coming, everybody.